According to a 2023 Federal Reserve study, the top 1% of Americans own approximately 38.7% of all wealth in the country. The bottom 50% own approximately 2.5% of all wealth combined. That means the top 1% owns approximately 15 times more wealth than the entire bottom half of America combined. But here is what is truly extraordinary about that number. The people in that top 1% are not smarter than everyone else. They did not work 15 times harder than everyone else. They did not get 15 times luckier than everyone else. They simply knew one thing that the bottom 50% did not know. And that one thing was never taught in any school. Never explained by any employer. Never shared by any bank. And almost never passed down from parents to children unless those parents were already wealthy. Today we are going to tell you exactly what that one thing is. With real verified data that proves beyond any doubt why knowing it changes everything. And why not knowing it is the single most expensive financial mistake any young person can make. The one thing every wealthy person knows that nobody ever tells young people is devastatingly simple. Assets make money while you sleep. Liabilities take money while you sleep. And the entire financial life of any ordinary person can be summarized by which of those two things they spend most of their money on. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket whether you are working or not. A stock that pays dividends puts money into your pocket while you sleep. An index fund that grows in value puts money into your pocket while you sleep. A rental property that generates rental income puts money into your pocket while you sleep. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket whether you are working or not. A car loan takes money out of your pocket every single month. A credit card balance takes money out of your pocket every single month at 21.5% interest. A subscription service takes money out of your pocket every single month. The wealthy spend the majority of their money on assets. Ordinary people spend the majority of their money on liabilities. And that single difference compounds into an extraordinary wealth gap over decades. According to Federal Reserve data, the average American household spends approximately 34% of their income on housing, approximately 15% on transportation, approximately 12% on food, approximately 8% on healthcare, and approximately 5% on entertainment. That is approximately 74% of the average American household income spent on liabilities and consumption, and approximately 3.3% saved or invested. Meanwhile, according to a study by Spectrem Group, the average wealthy American with a net worth of over $1 million saves and invests approximately 20 to 30% of their income. The gap between 3.3% and 20 to 30% invested every single month compounded over 30 to 40 years is the mathematical explanation for almost the entire wealth gap between the top 1% and the bottom 50%. Here is the second layer of the one thing every wealthy person knows. Money can either work for you or you can work for money. And the direction of that relationship determines almost everything about your financial future. When you work for money, you trade your time for a paycheck. You have 24 hours in a day. You can work approximately 8 to 12 of those hours. And your income is permanently capped by the number of hours you can physically work. When money works for you through assets that generate income and grow in value, your income is not capped by your hours. It is capped only by the amount of money you have working for you. And unlike your hours, which are permanently fixed at 24 per day, the amount of money working for you can grow without limit through the power of compound interest. Here is exactly what this means in real numbers. A young person who invests $500 per month from age 22 at an average annual return of 10% has approximately $100,000 working for them by age 35. At 10% annual return, that $100,000 generates approximately $10,000 per year in investment returns. That is approximately $833 per month being generated by money alone without working a single additional hour. By age 45, that same person has approximately $380,000 working for them, generating approximately $38,000 per year in investment returns. That is approximately $3,167 per month being generated by money alone. By age 55, that same person has approximately $1.1 million working for them, generating approximately $110,000 per year in investment returns. That is approximately $9,167 per month being generated by money alone without working a single additional hour beyond their regular job. This is what wealthy people understand about money that nobody ever tells young people. Money compounds. Time amplifies compounding. And starting early is the single most powerful financial decision any young person can ever make. Here is the third layer of the one thing that wealthy people know. Financial education is the highest return investment any person can ever make. And it is the one investment that the financial system has the least interest in providing to ordinary people. Banks make more money when you do not understand compound interest. Credit card companies make more money when you do not understand how minimum payments work. Insurance companies make more money when you do not understand what you actually need versus what they sell you. Investment firms make more money when you do not understand index funds and pay for expensive, actively managed funds instead. The entire financial services industry is more profitable when ordinary people are financially uneducated. According to a 2023 study by the TIAA Institute and the Global Financial Literacy Excellence Center, only approximately 57% of American adults are financially literate. That means approximately 43% of American adults do not have a basic understanding of the financial concepts that govern every single important decision in their financial lives. In the United Kingdom, according to the Money and Pension Service, approximately 17.7 million adults feel that they do not have enough confidence to manage their money well. That is approximately 33% of the entire adult population of the United Kingdom feeling financially illiterate in a system that is specifically designed to profit from their financial illiteracy. Wealthy families understand this. And they pass financial education down to their children deliberately and consistently from a young age. According to a 2022 study by Rowe Price, approximately 72% of parents from households earning over $100,000 per year regularly discuss money and investing with their children, while only approximately 38% of parents from households earning under $50,000 per year do the same. The wealth gap is not just a gap in money. It is a gap in financial knowledge. And that knowledge gap starts in childhood and compounds just as powerfully as money does over decades. Here is the fourth and perhaps most counterintuitive layer of the one thing wealthy people know. The wealthy understand risk completely differently from the way ordinary people understand it. Ordinary people think keeping money in a savings account is safe and investing in stocks is risky. Wealthy people know the exact opposite is true. Keeping money in a savings account earning 1.5% while inflation runs at 4 to 5% is a guaranteed loss of real purchasing power every single year. That is not safety. That is a slow and mathematically certain destruction of wealth. Investing in a broad market index fund that has never produced a negative return over any 20-year period in its entire history is not risky for a young person with a 30 to 40-year investment horizon. It is the single most mathematically reliable wealth-building tool ever made available to ordinary investors. According to research by Dalbar, the average American investor earned just 2.9% annually over the last 20 years, while the S&P 500 returned approximately 9.5% annually over the same period. The difference between those two returns is not explained by the stock market being risky. It is explained by ordinary investors making emotionally driven decisions based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what risk actually is. They sold during downturns out of fear. They bought during peaks out of excitement. And they kept too much money in savings accounts out of a false sense of security. While wealthy investors stayed invested through every single downturn, bought more during every single crash, and let compound interest do what it always does over long periods of time, which is turn patient, consistent investors into extraordinarily wealthy people. Now here is the complete data picture that brings all four layers of the one thing together. The top 1% of Americans own approximately 38.7% of all financial assets in the country. The bottom 50% own approximately 2.5%. The top 1% invest approximately 20 to 30% of their income every single month. The bottom 50% invest approximately 1 to 3% of their income every single month. The top 1% have an average of approximately 4.5 income streams. The bottom 50% have an average of approximately 1 income stream. The top 1% spend the majority of their money on assets that generate more money. The bottom 50% spend the majority of their money on liabilities that consume more money. The top 1% discuss money and financial education with their children regularly. The bottom 50% almost never discuss money with their children at all. And the top 1% understand that the real risk is not investing. The real risk is not investing. Every single one of these differences between the top 1% and the bottom 50% can be traced back to one single thing: the knowledge of how money actually works, and the consistent daily application of that knowledge to every single financial decision they make. So what can any young person do right now with this knowledge? Start buying assets immediately, even if you can only afford small amounts. A $50 monthly investment in an S&P 500 index fund is an asset that will work for you every single day from the moment you buy it. Stop buying liabilities with money you do not have. Every credit card purchase you cannot pay off at the end of the month is a liability that takes money from your future self and gives it to a bank. Invest in your financial education before you invest in anything else. Read one personal finance book per month. Watch one honest financial education video per day. And talk about money openly and regularly with the people around you. Because the single most powerful thing any young person can do to close the wealth gap between themselves and the top 1% is to acquire the financial knowledge that the top 1% have always had. And use it to make better financial decisions starting today. Not next month. Not next year. Today. Here is the one thing every wealthy person knows that nobody ever tells young people. Money is not something you earn. Money is something you grow. Earning money through work is just the beginning of the process. The wealthy understand that the real work of building wealth happens after the paycheck arrives. When you make the decision to spend that money on assets that will generate more money rather than on liabilities that will consume it. The top 1% did not get there by working harder than everyone else. They got there by understanding something that most ordinary people are never taught. That money itself is a tool. And like any tool, its power depends entirely on how you use it. You now know what the wealthy know. The only question that remains is what you are going to do with that knowledge.